Om Shanti and a very good morning. Uh, the song that was played, आवाज की दुनिया से दूर कहीं दूर चले. And Baba tells us about having that kind of a willpower and the power to control your own self, controlling your emotions, your feelings, your wants, in order to maintain stability, to keep elevating yourself, and to contribute to the world, to other souls, to spread divinity. Baba also speaks about keeping a Maha Antar and using a Maha Mantar to keep getting closer to Baba. How to stabilize yourself and keep on growing. How to maintain divinity in the relationships and how to remember the Almighty in three different forms. Today's Murli is dated 18th July 1971, and the title of today's Murli is Willpower and Controlling Power. Take a moment to stabilize yourself, to get the learnings that Baba is imparting through this Murli. To start with, Baba says, do you experience both willpower and controlling power in yourself? Because both these powers are extremely necessary for your own effort and for the progress of all other souls. If you do not have controlling power and willpower in your own self, then you do not have the power to make others will something. You are then not able to make others control their wasteful thoughts or their wasteful behavior. You do not have any willpower. Willpower means that whatever you do, either through your thoughts, words, or actions, it should always be willed to the Father. That is, it should be offered to the Father. On the path of bhakti, whatever they do, whether they are eating or walking, they say for the sake of saying it that it is offered to God. However, here you understand that whatever you did, you willed it for the task of the benefit of the benefactor Father. If you continue to offer whatever you have, you will become a mirror of someone who is worthy of an offering. The vision of the one to whom you offered something, the one for whom you offered it, is automatically received by everyone through such an offering. I repeat, the vision of the one to whom you offered something, the one for whom you offered it, is automatically received by everyone through such an offering. So the effort needed to order to offer something and to become a mirror is you need willpower. the effort needed in order to offer something and to become a mirror. That is, that you need willpower. And secondly, you need controlling power, the power to control your own self, your emotions, control over vices, control over needs. You should be able to stabilize yourself, that is, your stage, wherever you wish. It should not be that you sit to stabilize your stage in Baba's remembrance, but instead you have wasteful thoughts, or your stage fluctuates, or that you do not have any controlling power. In less than a second, you should be able to stabilize your thoughts wherever you wish. If you're not able to stabilize your own stage, how will you make others stabilize in the stage of soul consciousness? If you're not able to stabilize your own self in your own stage, how will you make others stabilize in the stage of soul consciousness? This is why you must constantly keep the awareness of your stage and status. Only then will you be able to attain success in your qualifications. So, what will you keep as the main thing for willpower and controlling power so that you imbibe both the powers? Baba is asking, what will you keep? What will be the main thing for your willpower and your controlling power so that you can imbibe both these powers? The method of making effort for both these powers is included in just one word for each. For controlling power, constantly keep the great contrast, that is, Mahan Antar, in front of you, and your intellect will automatically go towards that which is elevated. For controlling power, constantly keep the great contrast, that is Mahananta, in front of you, and your intellect will automatically go towards that which is elevated. Your intellect will not go towards that which is felt to be wasteful. If there is no antar, then you'll not be able to see. Whatever actions you perform, if you continue to see the great contrast between pure and impure, truth and falsehood, the difference between awareness and forgetfulness, the difference between the wasteful and the powerful, then your intellect is automatically controlled. If you keep yourself at a distance, and if you keep that antar, even while driving, you keep a distance, or keep a safe distance between the two vehicles, so that if anything is coming up suddenly, you have the power to control. If you don't keep that distance, there is a chance of getting into an accident. So, whatever actions you perform, if you continue to see the great contrast between pure and impure, truth and falsehood, the difference between awareness and forgetfulness, the difference between the wasteful and the powerful, then your intellect is automatically controlled. And for willpower, there is the great mantra, that is the Mahan mantra. If you remember both the great contrast and the great mantra, then you never have to make effort to control your intellect. Baba says this is easy. So first of all, check, that is, think of the contrast and then perform the action. Take a moment to choose your action instead of that coming out on an impulse, that coming out of some kind of an attachment, that coming out of ego, that coming out of any deprivation. When you do not see the contrast but continuously you move carelessly, you do not have the controlling power that you should have. And with the great mantra, you will automatically have willpower. Because the great mantra is Baba's remembrance. That is, to constantly stabilize your intellect on Baba's activities and Baba's virtues. So by having the great mantra in the intellect, that is, by having the connection of the intellect with the powerhouse, you will have willpower. So you should remember both the great contrast and the great mantra, and you will easily be able to imbibe both the powers. Keep the great contrast and the great mantra in your awareness. Then use the eye of knowledge and see how much success you have. Keep the great contrast and the great mantra in your awareness. Then use the eye of knowledge and see how much success you have. You were told what the activity of a swan is. It constantly picks out the great contrast between stones and jewels. In the same way, if you constantly remember the great contrast, then you automatically remember the great mantra. When people come to know about something elevated, they automatically step away from things that are of less value. It is natural that when you come close to something that is of an elevated power, you would automatically move away from the things that are not with as much power or with less value. But by not remembering the contrast, you even forget the mantra and you're not fully able to use the weapons of knowledge successfully. Baba's imparted us with all the learnings, but we keep on failing and falling because we don't keep the contrast. So, what will you do now? Simply remember two words: be swans, and continue to do that. Baba's asking, do you understand? Just as you have three special relationships with Bab Dada, although you have all relationships, there are main three ones. In the same way, throughout the whole day, you should remember your own three main forms. Just as there is childhood, young age, old age, and then death. So this cycle continues all the time. And so, throughout the entire day, Which three forms should you remember so that you are easily able to have remembrance and have greater success? Baba is asking throughout the entire day, which three forms should you remember so that you are easily able to have remembrance and in turn have greater success? Just as you speak of the three forms of the Father, in the same way, what are your three forms? When you wake up in the early morning hours of nectar and stay on the pilgrimage of remembrance or have a heart to heart conversation, what is your form at that time? The first is when you get up early in the morning, and then you stay in Baba's yard or you have a Rurihan. What is your form at that time? That form is that of a child and a master. When you have a heart to heart conversation, you remember the form of a child. And when you become the embodiment of experience of the pilgrimage of remembrance, you have the form of being a master. So, at Amrit Vela, you have the form of a child and master. Then, what form do you have? That of a godly student life. And then, the third form is that of a server. Do you continue to perform your activities whilst adopting all these three forms throughout the day? So Baba's asking to check, am I continuing to perform my activities whilst adopting all these three forms throughout the day? The form of child and a master, that of a godly student life, and that of a server. You have these three forms, and then what form do you have at night? At the end of the day, at the time of going to sleep, your stage is that of checking yourself, and as well as that, you have the stage of going beyond sound. Like the song Rakhi Ben played, आवाज की दुनिया से दूर कहीं दूर चले, going away from the stage of sound. While stabilizing yourself in that stage, you finish one day and begin the next day. So that stage should be as when you're asleep, because at that time you're not disturbed by any noise or anything. You're having a sound sleep because you're going beyond sound. When you are in a very good sleep and you have dreams, that is a different matter. You should make your stage like this before going to sleep. That you sleep like a child, just as at the end, the sanskars that the souls take at the end become merged, and then those sanskars emerge. Whatever gets stored in the subconscious just as you drift off to sleep, that is what works through the night. And in the same way, when you finish the day in this way, the sanskars become loving and detached. By going to sleep with these sanskars, you receive help from these sanskars the next day. And therefore, at night, when you finish the day, you should finish the old accounts with a fire of remembrance. That is, with the power of remembrance, you should settle all your accounts. Just as if businessmen do not settle their accounts, they increase their debt. A debt is called a sickness. In this way, if there are any accounts of your karma or your thoughts for the whole day, you should settle them. Do not keep anything as a debt for the next day. If you keep anything as a debt as you go to sleep, the next morning you get up with that heaviness of the debt, and then it takes the form of a sickness and makes the intellect weak, and you start your day with a weak intellect, and then it just spirals down. So settle your accounts daily and begin a new day with a new awareness, keeping a chart of your actions. And when you keep the accounts of your actions and thoughts clear in this way, you will become perfect and the image of success. So the last 10 minutes before we go to sleep, we do a self-check on settling the accounts of the thoughts, the deeds, and whatever we've spoken through the day. When you keep the accounts of your actions and thoughts clear in this way, you will become perfect and the image of success. If you're not able to settle your own accounts, how will you be enabling others to settle their accounts and karmic bondages? How will you do that service? How will you do that seva? Therefore, your register should be cleared every night. So the homework that we take today is to take out those few minutes every night consciously to go through the actions of the whole day and share it with Baba and clear it no matter what. Settle it before we go to sleep. Whatever has happened, burn it away with the fire of yoga, just as people burn away thorns and make the name and trace of them disappear. In the same way, with the power of knowledge and the power of remembrance, that is, with willpower and controlling power, you should keep your register clean every day. Nothing should accumulate. The wasteful thoughts and actions of one day should not leak into the other day, into the next day. That is, there should not be a debt. Debt is debt. So put an end to it at the end of the day, because past is past. Full stop. Those who keep their register clean in this way, that is, those who clear their accounts, are easily able to become embodiment of success. Baba's asking, do you understand? Become a checker for the whole day. In the cycle of self-realization, there is this cycle of the day. In the beginning, when you used to have drill, you used to go from one circle into another and then come out of it. So this is an unlimited cycle of 5,000 years, and within that, these are the little cycles. So your cycle of the day should remain clear. They should always remain clear. So become a checker for the whole day. Like if there's a patient who's admitted in the hospital, the nurses and the attendants would intermittently come and keep on checking the parameters. Is the heart rate okay? Is the blood pressure okay? Is the pulse okay? They will check the parameters. There should not be any confusion in that. Only then will you become the rulers of the globe. You know how to clear your register, do you not? So now Baba has given us that access. He's always given it to us. Today he's reminding us again through this Murli. An access to clear your register. So nowadays, science has also created such inventions that whatever is written can all be erased so that you're not even aware of what was written. So with the power of silence, are you not able to clear your register every day? This is why it is said, who can be loved by the Father, by God, and who can be loved by the deities? Those who have honesty and cleanliness are loved by God and also are loved by people. And they even love their own selves because it is pure. Everyone likes honesty and cleanliness. To keep your register clean is also cleanliness. And the Lord is pleased with an honest heart. That is, when you have courage and remembrance, you receive help. Acha, Om Shanti. Let's take a couple of moments to reflect on the learning that Baba has reminded us through this fully today, and then come back and share our takeaways. Okay, you can unmute yourself and share now.
Om Shanti, brother. Can you hear
Yes,
me,
Lakshmi.
brother?
Yes, Lakshmi.
Baba's telling us how to clear the register every day with the power of silence. So we should not carry anything for the next day, especially the waste thoughts that we are having should not be taken, carried forward to the next day. That is one point. And the other one is honesty and cleanliness. When we have this honesty and cleanliness, we are loved by all the people, and we love ourselves, and we are the embodiment of success. Thank you, brother.
Yes, Lakshmi Ben, and when we are loving ourselves, it becomes easy for us to do the seva of imparting the learnings of the power to control and to develop the willpower. Thank you, sister.
Om Shanti. Uh, Om Shanti. Today, it's a great Murli where Baba has given us the ways and means to develop the two great powers, that is the willpower and the controlling power. For the controlling power, Baba says, always keep the great contrast, that is the Mahan Antar, in front of us. The controlling system will have the datum or the reference or the benchmark with which we can always check my thoughts and actions are uh, should not be in deviation to that datum, should be as close as possible to the datum. And second is the willpower. For willpower, Baba says Mahan Mantra, mantra of Man Manabhav, always power of remembrance. So these two can be practiced, and that's easy for the intellect to practice. Om Shanti.
Like how Baba says, Om Bhai, that all the time be in my remembrance. First, you will be remembering consciously, and later on, the system, the mind will keep on remembering on its
Yeah.
own.
Yes. It will be
Isn't it?
on autopilot mode.
Yes, it will be an autopilot mode. Yeah.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, brother.
Yes, sister.
So actually, we want to close the account, and we are thinking, and I am thinking that I am closing a particular issue or something related to that. So, but some cases it is not over. It's also coming to the next day also while doing yoga. So, how to finish that completely, brother? It, sometimes it may be of kind of fear or a new situation or so the kind of attachment also, everything is known, but it's also carrying to the next hour or something. It's a temporary stop only. The thought is coming again and again. Something.
And that is the weakness of the soul that we have in today's times. That we don't have an access to have control over our emotions, our attachments, over our fears. And that is because there is I. There is no surrenderance there that you would surrender it to Baba, the faith that you would have. You would take it too personally on your own self that I am the one who's got this and this is mine and uh, I have to deal with it. But when you Give it to Baba because he's the Karan Karavan Har. He's the one, like how Mumbai said, Man Mana Baba, like Mera Baba. Just when you just surrender, then you allow Baba to take over. Imagine that you are going for bungee jumping, and then there is a clamp which is there behind, and then you just surrender yourself and you just jump. But imagine at that time you're holding something else with your hand. It's going to be a disaster. So the power to control means the control that Baba is talking over here is controlling your mind, but not being something that would control you. So the power of surrenderance is something that would allow you to close that chapter that day. When you write down the chart that day, or you're doing yoga in the night, you put it across to Baba and said, Baba, this needs to be taken care of. I don't know how to do it. And I give it up to you. And see how it shows up the next day. Because if you're getting worried and you go to sleep, how is it anyways going to help you in the night? So that is when you keep a bit of a distance and allow that space for Baba to help you do the work, rather than you having that ego. And when I say ego, means the I-ness that we would have, that I am the one, only I have to do it. Yeah, surely you are an instrument who would do things, but you would do it under the guidance of Baba. If that answers your question.
Om Shanti, brother.
Sister?
Brother, as sister now rightly said, that we are not able to put a full stop to the weaknesses. But Baba says in one Murli that due to our old karmatic accounts also, these hindrances will be coming and we cannot put it full stop immediately. But you have to accept the weaknesses. Once you accept the weaknesses and then you release it, it will automatically leave us, he says. Is that one way we can take it, brother?
Yeah, that is also one of the ways, the having the awareness that, yeah, that is my karmic account and this is drama. So by worrying anyways, when you're getting worried about it, you're anyways building your new karmas. So acceptance of, out of that awareness that this is my karmic account, and not taking that stress personally onto your own self. We've seen the dadis and they go through major health challenges, but the way they have gracefully seen it through, because they've accepted and then they've surrendered. So you're right in your way, sister.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Om Shanti. These three forms which Baba has spoken about is also something which it touched me, that the three forms is that, child and a master during Amrit Vela, Balak so Malik, and then thereafter I become a Ruhani student, a godly student, who is always learning and imbibing God's knowledge, uh, uh, studying as well as teaching, and that of a server, that karma yogi. These three forms, they are basically, Baba has uh, given an analogy with the cycle of the day. Throughout the day, these three forms,
Yeah,
and then at night, Baba says that clear all the accounts, and do not keep anything carry forward, either thought or a word spoken or any action done. Even the words are like actions only, so the thoughts and actions should not be carried forward, and they should be told to Baba during the night, and then we start our day afresh, with a new energy, new zeal, and uh, the new sanskars. Om Shanti.
Yes, Mumbai, you're absolutely right. And what Kartika Ben was saying earlier is that there might be accounts that you may need to settle uh, as we keep on having the transactions of karma and our social life as well. So what is outside of us that may need to be settled, but what is within us, inside us, that is something that we don't carry forward. So when we put that at rest, when we complete that, addressed it to Baba in the night and complete it, like you said, the next day you come with a new energy to jump back and deal with what needs to be dealt with.
And Bhaiji, this 63 births sanskars can be finished, or can be merged only through the power of yoga. The constant undisturbed connection with the powerhouse, and Baba has given these three forms to actually ensure this is a way to always be connected. These three
Yes.
forms, the three main forms. There are many forms, many relationships, but the three main relationships: the child, the student, and a server,
So
karma yogi. Yeah, that throughout, if we uh, do the permutation and combination of these three relationships, these are the primary, you can like primary colors, and then we get so many rainbows throughout the day. Feel him, experience him, and automatically this power of remembrance will finish all the 63 birth sanskars, because that time we were not remembering Baba. Had we remembered Baba that time, we wouldn't have got these sanskars at the first place. They became emerged because of non-remembrance of Baba. So the solution also lies in this only, that we have to remember Baba so that the sanskars become emerged and the new anadi eternal sanskars emerge. Om Shanti.
that is why to settle the karmic accounts of all these births, Baba has given us confluence age, and he is with us in this confluence age, so that
Yes.
we can, out of the obliviousness that we have, not that we forgot Baba, okay, we didn't remember, not that we didn't remember, that never existed for us, and
Yes.
now in this confluence age, he comes and gives us this awareness, this learning that I am there with you, and he also gave us the awareness of who you are. Who am I? I am not what I used to believe who I was or who I am. He actually gave us the power that you are a soul and you have the power to do anything. Like a couple of days ago, I was listening to, I'd attended an event by uh, Shivani Ben, and she was talking about communication only with your vibrations. That is the way that time there was no uh, science. There were no gadgets. There was no WhatsApp. There was no Zoom. Nothing was there. The way people wanted to convey with each other was only through the vibrations. But over a period of time, it got replaced by so much of facilities that we forgot how to use it. And Whenever we have power of anything, all the powers that, the divine powers that we have, if we don't use it, then we lose it. So now Baba is giving us this learning, this sustenance, so that we can get back to our original form. Right,
Yes.
Ombai?
True, true. Maybe I'll just say the last sentence, which I really touched me, is that whatever you are not, clearing is a debt.
Yeah,
That sentence is very powerful.
yeah,
In the world, we would not like to be in a debt. That creates anxiety, that
yeah,
creates worry, and uh, people sometimes take extreme steps also to
yeah.
end the life, while in a lot of debt.
Mm,
So we should, well, it's a very powerful statement. We can relate it. I'll take it myself as a practical way to not carry forward any debt. I will settle
yeah,
the account the night before, and that's the promise. Om Shanti.
yeah. And that's all that Baba is saying, that just just come up and share with me and take the efforts, take the actions, how to help you get it done. Then it's my job. But you have to make yourself available for him to work with you.
Om Shanti, brother. We should be aware of our words, thoughts, and actions also.
Yes.
Om Shanti Baiji and Divine Family. Would you please help me to clarify two things? Number one, I do not have practice of completing chart at night. Do we need to create our own personal chart, or there is any standard chart sitting somewhere? Because I was unable to find. I did find few, but those were in Hindi. I was not able to read Hindi, so I could not put in practice. So I really need your help with chart as well as how to get started. So when we start our day, how does it work? Opening account and then starting with how much credit, then how to stay aware of debit activity, then balancing at night. So I really need help how to start this practice. Number two, clarification regarding karmic account. Just example, let's say my child born with some sort of disease, or at the time of birth, he was perfectly fine, but after a few years, he developed a disease. So in this situation, how do I convince myself, or what belief should I teach my mind when my mind is asking me question why it happened to my child at the time of birth or after birth? So with the karmic philosophy, how can I calm down my mind? Or any trauma, just you can take any trauma too. Thank you, Maji.
Okay. So would anyone like to answer this? The first and the second point? Would anyone like to answer the how to maintain a chart out of your own experiences, if anyone is maintaining?
Om Shanti. We can note down we can maintain a diary in which we note down the uh, thoughts which are in deviation to the Srimad, and also the thoughts which are in alignment with the Srimad. The good thoughts, elevated thoughts, like every 1 hour, we can just note down. And if suppose we are not able to note down, at least we remember, and the evening when we come back from the office, we can just share with Baba, write it down, Baba, these are the, Baba also says about the quote, no, we address mind, oh mind, you have created such noble thoughts during the day. Thank you so much. However, you created some bad thought, which, you should not have done, and it is not in alignment with Shiva. So we can just one-to-one interaction with mind, intellect, and sanskars in the same way. First, highlight their positives, and then also tell about where they went haywire, and then we surrender to Baba, share it with Baba. Om Shanti.
We can write what all, Om Shanti brother. We can write what all has happened that whole day, and then how long we were connected to Baba the whole day, and whatever the negative is, that we can correct it in the next chat. So we can see that it is not repeated, and concentrating. Talking to Baba. That is giving time to Baba and keeping our mind busy. Then we may overcome this all negative things. Om Shanti brother.
Thank you, Ji. So it means just monitoring our thought process, type of thoughts, good, bad, or negative one, right? Am I correct, right?
Yeah, so as you are completing your day, like last 10 minutes of yoga, okay, just sitting in remembrance, being connected with your own inner self and reflecting through the actions or whatever you spoke or whatever you thought about you in the whole day. And like how Mumbai said, throughout the day, you keep on checking at times. Yeah, okay, what have you done? Look at both the things. What are the good things that you did? Maybe you helped someone who was old. You helped that person cross the road, and you write it down like, oh, this is what I did, thanks to Baba. And the same way, what are the challenges that came throughout the day, and how did you deal with it? So when you write it down, uh, at the core of everything, what comes in the way is that we believe that I am the one who is there. It's not I, the soul. I in the body form. When we personally attach, how you also said about your child who's got a challenge and was born perfectly, but you feel then later on develop some kind of a challenge, and how to convince yourself. Well, speaking about, uh, there was a very good perspective that I got to learn uh, from some experience that I saw somewhere, that someone was having a challenge, and that person said that Baba wants me to clear my karmic account very fast. He wants to support me in clear my karmic account very fast. That is the reason this challenge has come. So whatever I have to see through, I'm seeing through with this challenge. And also looking at that, yes, if your child has got that kind of a challenge, that is Venus' journey. You are the mother in this birth. So your association relation with your child as a mother, and that being your child, before this birth, you did not know where that soul was. After this birth, you will not know. So this relation is going to be only for this birth. So taking it as the role that you play as a mother and being someone who's there to support your child see it through gracefully. I guess that is the perspective that I would have, that you may look at considering.
Om Shanti brother. It may be due to the karmic account of the child also. And God knows very well that we are the only person that mother only can take care of the child. And so he might have given that child, a particular child to us. Om Shanti brother.
Yeah, that is also one of the way to look at it.
Thank you, Ji.
All right. Would
Yeah,
anyone else like to share anything?
thank you everyone. Thank you.
Got it. Thank you, sister. All right, so let's take a couple of moments to meditate in silence rather than having a commentary. Let's just take a couple of moments to see as we sit in silence where all our mind is running. Get aware of that and start that practice of having the willpower and the controlling power to manage your thoughts. So let's take a couple of moments to be with ourselves in silence. Om Shanti. Have a peaceful day. Have a day with a great willpower and the power to control your mind.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, Baba.
Thanks to Baba.
Thank you, Brother Ramji.